What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the post-launch content to Gotham Knights, talk about where that quote even came from, and discuss who they could be, what Warner Bros. Montreal actually means by this. So there was a article at Game Informer where they talked about who are the playable characters. Are there only 4 playable characters? And they go off to say that they're going to announce eventually a post-launch lineup. Okay, that's the term they use. And then also, that was I think Patrick Redding who said that, and then Marty, she said but as of there's only 4 playable characters for the 4, almost as if she was trying to do in some way like a damage control kind of thing for it. So I actually posted this on Twitter, and it actually blew up. I don't know why it blew up on Twitter, but I'm very thankful for you guys. And this is a good lead-in. If you guys are not already following me on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Things like this sometimes can happen. I tend to give you guys updates on future videos, all that kind of stuff. So again, Podcast Now 15. And I mentioned this, and I got a lot of really good responses. There was a lot of people that had a lot of things to say. So I think the first thing to say is, well, what does it mean? Well, it means that there's going to be DLC afterwards. So there's going to be, in my opinion, from what they, the fact that they answered that, they answered with that phrase to the question of, are there only, the 4 playable characters, or talking about playable characters. Obviously, the DLC, or what they're talking about in terms of like the post-launch lineup, is more characters. So, look, this is not Marvel's Avengers. I would not expect 16, or 15, DLC characters down the line. I don't expect them to support this game for 1-2 years after, okay? Honestly, if there's any game that's going to do that, it would be the Suicide Squad game, the Rocksteady game that they're making, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I don't really think it's all that even fair to compare it to Avengers. There are similarities, that's for sure, but to, completely say it's Avengers, I don't really think is fair yet. Maybe when it comes out, then we can say it, and I would be the first one to probably do it. So, and by the way, why am I saying that? Well, it's because I don't think we're going to have that many candidates for this post-launch stuff, but obviously people were running with it. Now, again, who could they be? Who are they talking about? Well, Batman is the first one that I think is very, very likely. Look, we've talked about this before. In fact, in tomorrow's video, it's almost like I saw the future. In tomorrow's video, I talk about, their whole kind of controlling, dialogue approach where they keep saying he's dead, he's dead. He's every single article. They really want to kind of, engrave that in your mind that, no, he's not in this game. He's dead. They didn't say he couldn't be brought back. They didn't say the Court of Owls don't have him. They said he's dead. And they also said, and this should be made clear, that he's not a playable character. Okay, so does that mean that he won't appear in the game? No, I don't think that doesn't mean that. I think that it's very likely that he appears sometime in this game, which, again, we'll talk about in tomorrow's video. But the funny thing is, again, I made that video before even, seeing this stuff. What if he is one of those post-launch characters? What if you save him, or he's brought back, or, whatever happens towards, let's say, the second half of the game, towards the end of the game, and you kind of reunite the full Bat family, and then at the end of the game, you have all 5 of them. Well, don't you would kind of need DLC for Bat. Now, you don't need it. In fact, if this was a game that just didn't have DLC, didn't have a post-launch kind of thing, you could just say, okay, well, it ends with them saving Batman. You got the 5 of them, and then if you did a Gotham Knights 2, there'd be 5 characters, and Batman would be one of them. So, you could do that, and in fact, that could be a way they go. And maybe they decide to do that. Maybe they say, okay, well, we want to give these basically DLC slots to different characters not named Batman, right? So maybe they do that. Or, again, they say, okay, well, you free him, you save him, you whatever you want to say. Maybe we can give him some DLC missions. Obviously, maybe he would have his own play style, all that kind of stuff, and he could be post-launch. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think, honestly, it's more likely than not. And then even if they did that, they could even say, well, we did say he was dead. He was. We just didn't say he would be brought back, which he was. We did say you can't play as him in the game. You can't. You can play as him in the DLC. You know what I mean? So they could, if they wanted to wiggle themselves around what they've already said, they could do that. They could absolutely do that. And it would actually kind of be funny to see them do something like that. But who else? The number one person that comes to mind for me is Catwoman. Now, and in a way, it's kind of like diversity. Like, you got to think, okay, do they care about that? Are they going to do? I feel like they do, especially Montreal, that kind of area. I think Catwoman, and not even for a diversity's sake, I mean, Catwoman is an amazing, amazing character. And what's cool, and I do want to give credit to this, and we're going to talk about this in future videos too, there is potential with these side characters and side villains in this game. Like, there's no doubt there's potential. If Catwoman is in this game, that could be really cool, because we don't know as of right now the dynamic she may have had with Batman, right? So, and I think that honestly could play up her character quite a bit. And then if you got to play as her, we have played as her, in the past in the Arkham games, right? So it would be kind of a return of an old character. Not, again, it would not be the Catwoman from those games, but it would be like, okay, we're familiar with this kind of character, right? Maybe the play style is somewhat similar to it, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. I saw a lot of people say like Azrael. I think that makes a lot of sense too. Obviously he kind of grew to fame in the Arkham world with Arkham Knight, and there are heavy rumors that he could very well be in this game, okay? So I think that you have to look at that too, because I almost wonder if they're going to look at characters that were taking place in this game to be DLC. Another thing I just thought of that I'm kind of worried about is remember those leaks that said like Harley would be a DLC character? I mean, technically they could do that, right? They actually could do that. I did see a lot of people to that tweet. They went a lot of like the Birds of Prey, kind of like Huntress, kind of like they went in that kind of direction. I don't know if they would necessarily do something like that. I honestly think Batman would probably be my number one choice. Catwoman would probably be my number two choice, and then Azrael would be my number three choice. I think that would be a pretty solid group. Again, you got to think of how their play styles are, what their stories could be, and again too, the story of a DLC would connect very much with the story of the actual game. One thing I do want to note, okay, and one thing I want to say out loud, because I think I'll probably get this question quite often, is the DLC. How do I think this is going to work? I think that's probably something that's fair. I kind of wanted to do a DLC video separate, but I do want to talk about this really quick in this video, and then we could do a DLC video later on in the week. I think that it would be hopefully free. I think that while it's not Marvel's Avengers, okay, and again, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, obviously is not, they're different names, they're not Marvel's Avengers, but I think with the world that we're seeing is with these games that come out and then they're supposed to last a very long time. Sometimes there's paid stuff, sometimes there's DLC packs, season passes, all that kind of stuff, but a lot of these games, they are, and I do respect this, by the way, they are bold, they are cool in that way where they say, buy the base game, and then we're going to supply you quite a bit of content going forward. Like, we want this game to last a long time. You look at Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is going to be the center of all Halo stuff for the entire Series X generation. There's not going to be another Halo, probably not for another 5-6 years, so that they're going to add to that game and constantly, improve it, constantly just do more updates and probably maps and all of these different things, all to one game for probably 4 or 5 years, which is insane, by the way. Will that work? That's a question all its own. Same question you could ask with Marvel's Avengers. That's why, ultimately, I don't want this game to be like that. I don't want Gotham Knights to be again, not necessarily a game as a service. I know they got asked that question. They said no. Game as a service is not the same thing, I personally think, as what I'm saying. I think those are honestly two different things. The thing that I'm saying is I don't want this game to be a center hub for Gotham Knights, or like these characters for the next like 2-3 years. I want this game, I want the second Warner Bros. Montreal game, and then I want the third one, which would be the same team that made this one. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I want these games to keep coming out. Ultimately, I don't want the same game, and I don't want them just doing DLC updates for a couple years. Is that a majority opinion? I mean, maybe. I think overall it kind of depends on the game, and it depends on the person. Some people love those kind of games, right? Some people love, you have your game and it'll be supported for years and years on end, and some people may not like that. I am one of those people that do not like that. I would prefer just keep giving me games. Okay, so I think that it wouldn't be all that extensive. I know, again, they said post-launch lineup. I think that does mean characters. I think that does mean DLC. But at the end of the day, I think that they'll probably support this game 3-6 months, somewhere in that range, maybe 9 months max. I really don't see them having they're going to say, okay, we're going to have 15 more playable characters, and they're going to come out over the next 2 years. Like, just basically same thing as Avengers. I just do not think. In fact, they even kind of took shots at Avengers, and they said like the game isn't even built for 4 people. The game is built for 2. The game is built for 1. So I don't think at the end of the day you're going to have all that many characters. Plus, that's just not, in my opinion, that's not what the game is about. Playing at, I mean, yes, the whole point is playing as 4 different characters, but I think the point is playing as like 20. You know what I mean? So I think it should be free. Hopefully it's free, but we'll see how they go, along that. Obviously, these Arkham games have had histories with their season passes or with, you having to pay for it, which is fine if they want to do that. But ultimately, it's a wait and see. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think post-launch lineup means? What characters do you think they could add to this game? Do you agree with me? Do you think it'll be free? Do you think they'll support this game long term? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I know I said I was going to take a break, do the videos every 2-3 days. I lied, obviously, I guess, right? Because things just honestly keep coming out on this game. So far, we had a video yesterday. We've had videos like every day for like, 2 weeks at this point. But there's going to be a video tomorrow. We're going to talk about Batman. Video Monday, pretty positive video, or at least hopefully overall. And then I'm going to keep going on from there. We'll talk about DLC, talk about other things. Really, really do appreciate all of your guys' support. And I'll see you all on the next video.